Jules Goddard, Uncommon Sense, Common Nonsense, Why Some Organizations Consistently Outperform Others. Welcome to the captivating summary of Uncommon Sense, Common Nonsense, Why Some Organizations Consistently Outperform Others by Jules Goddard. Here, we break down the key highlights of what makes specific companies consistently outpace their competition, emphasizing the importance of innovation, adaptability, and counterintuitive strategies. In this summary, you'll discover the shortcomings of commonly held beliefs and the pitfalls organizations fall into that lead to mediocrity. We will also explore the balance needed between administration and innovation, and the shift required in approaching strategy in today's ever-changing business landscape.
Winning strategies for business. There is no one-size-fits-all formula for business success, as each organization needs specific intelligence and execution to triumph. Winning requires intuition and perception, not rules and ideologies. Entrepreneurship involves going against the grain, implementing unique ideas, and striving for distinctiveness. Rather than relying on established beliefs and generic strategies, leaders need adaptable assumptions and theories. Proficient implementation and strategy result from these. Ambiguity, internal contradictions, and stressful demands characterize the modern managerial job. Innovation is the lifeblood of businesses, and decisions that arise from it bring success. Winning with counterintuitive strategies. Avoid best practices and embrace original thinking to succeed in business. To achieve excellence in business, applying the same old formulas won't work. Successful organizations differentiate themselves by deploying an innovative philosophy or improving internal efficiency. The idea of best practices is misleading, as it promotes conformity and discourages original thinking. Winning firms, however, prioritize taking chances and learning from mistakes to spur growth. Leadership teams that play it safe are only risking their long-term prospects by avoiding new ideas that challenge the status quo. Leaders who shun risk think that mistakes could threaten their job security and adversely impact their company's shareholder value. These managers prioritize short-term gains over long-term growth opportunities, which ultimately limits their strategic advantage. Businesses that prioritize reducing expenses and fending off competition often struggle to remain market leaders. Companies that measure their costs against competitors, focus on closing the gap on the market leader, or turn to the latest management trends are likely to experience strategic breakdowns. Such firms prioritize profits over customer satisfaction, and this approach is counterproductive. Markets reward firms that prioritize building customer relationships, and profit is a secondary but reliable measure of success. Companies that fail to acknowledge strategy errors or market weaknesses in time to rectify them often stall in their growth and revenue. Profitable firms that excel are skilled at detecting the veracity of their marketing, technology, customer preference, or strategic assumptions and making quick adjustments. Therefore, companies that prioritize customer relationships, original thinking, and continuous learning, and embrace creativity demonstrate a higher level of tolerance for making mistakes that are crucial in genuine pursuit of knowledge and truth. Empowering strategies. Strategy is not a formula, it is a response to conditions and variables. The success of a strategy lies in what works in a particular situation, and it requires improvisational acts. Emphasizing competitiveness over budget constraints, comparing performance against competitors, and allowing the markets to determine a firm's value are essential. Instead of a hierarchical structure, companies should encourage every employee to suggest ideas, fostering innovation on multiple fronts. A pipeline of experiments is crucial, and the emphasis should be on return on right beliefs rather than right intentions. Effective strategy often reveals itself slowly as organizations invest in several ideas. Corporate executives should apply entrepreneurial traits like courage, originality, self-confidence, and persistence to their own situations. Balancing administration and innovation. The traditional management model that emphasizes authority and bureaucracy is no longer effective in today's rapidly changing business landscape. Businesses need to strike a balance between administration and innovation. Administration requires oversight, order, alignment, and direction, while innovation embraces organized chaos, ingenuity, communication, and independent thought and action. Success requires both. The principles defining the traditional model, such as hierarchy of power, singularity of purpose, specialization of task, standardization of process, planning of outcomes, and motivation by money, have drawbacks that limit cooperation, learning, collaboration, and creativity. Businesses need to rethink their management style by promoting diverse viewpoints, curiosity, and personal accountability, encouraging collaboration, and providing meaningful incentives beyond just financial rewards. By doing so, they can better harness the creative potential of their employees and thrive in today's world. Reimagining employee participation for successful change management. The article asserts that traditional management methods are outdated and proposes changes for organizations to remain competitive. Change initiatives often fail as employees do not feel involved, but implementing specific operational rules, offering incentives, demonstrating ethical soundness, enabling participation for employees, proving manager commitment with actions, and respecting the choices of those who choose to leave can increase chances of success. Furthermore, the article highlights how organizations benefit from simplifying procedures and how managers can seek simple solutions rather than large-scale agendas. Navigating ethical dilemmas as a manager. Excelling despite organizational constraints. Managers face challenging circumstances in the workplace today. They must navigate competing interests, such as being a strong team player and obtaining promotions while also boosting shareholder value. This creates ethical dilemmas that often result in managers protecting their self-interests. In firms where making mistakes results in more significant consequences than rewards for success, playing it safe becomes the norm. Organizations often believe that hiring the most gifted employees will lead to superior results. However, research shows that creating the right organizational context is the most important factor in performance. Companies that cultivate a culture that encourages creative thinking and aggressive action often have motivated and valued employees, leading to better outcomes. Strong leadership may not be necessary for competent, honest, and motivated employees. In essence, the book stresses that while striving for excellence in execution is essential, it must be balanced with sound strategic ideas. In other words, excellent execution can't compensate for a lack of innovative thinking. The key takeaway for managers is to develop a culture that promotes creativity while avoiding ethical dilemmas by creating the right organizational context. Embracing corporate democracy. Expertise and leadership are not reserved for a select few in an organization. While some specialized tasks require experts, diverse and leaderless crowds can perform better in tasks that require insights. Smart crowds bring in varied viewpoints and offer higher creativity and growth. Organizations must embrace diversity and encourage their members to voice their opinions for innovation and reinvention, replacing autocracy with corporate democracy. Young leaders and enlightened managers should step up to empower their workforce to create strategic solutions built on insights, not rules or principles.
To wrap up, Uncommon Sense, Common Nonsense teaches us that success in business requires a unique blend of intuition, innovation, and adaptability. The organization's leaders must question established beliefs, embrace counterintuitive strategies, and create a culture that breeds experimentation and learning from mistakes. Don't chase after the elusive notion of best practices, but strive to nurture original thinking and adaptability. Remember, strategic decisions should be fluid, context-specific, and continuously evolving. Ultimately, embrace the creativity and diversity within your organization, encourage input from all employees, and let go of the outdated management principles while cultivating corporate democracy to propel your organization to consistent success.